action of former President Obasanjo, the fact that he went immediately, not minding the fact that he did not attend that convention.
Was keeping tabs, keeping his ears close to the ground.
Which was quite ominous. I mean, a person of the stature of Obasanjo did not come to that.
Do you think he'll be surprised?
It was a major signal, and that is not something to neglect. But the fact that he moved in almost immediately to go to see the president, and the meeting that took place last night, with these affected governors, shows that, in short, there is a crisis. I mean, there's no point pretending about it. There is a crisis. It's not one of those times that we come out and say, it is a family matter and it will be solved. It's gone beyond that, because there is a crack. It's either this group of people will leave PDP eventually. This group of people, a lot of them will eventually leave PDP. It's just like when you are in employment and you tender your letter of resignation. At a particular point in time, your boss tries to convince you to come back. He has an eye on you because you are almost outward bound. So a lot of these people will leave. Maybe one or two people will come back. But you see, if the matter is not properly handled, what I see happening, unlike what people think that they are just going to join the APC, they want their own party.
Why?
Because they are not capable of sustaining a faction of PDP. This PDP that they are formed is unknown to law.
That's a question, because one wonders,
they cannot.
Why then do they call it faction of PDP?
It's not any faction. It's not produced by any Congress, not produced by any convention. It's not known to INEC. It's not known to the Constitution by way of registration. So you don't become a party by a press conference.
Because as we speak now, already people have already started talking about a faction, talking about the Bamanga Tukur-led faction of the PDP, meaning we already have two PDP.
Well, that is quite uncharitable. I mean, if a few people have had a press conference hours after a convention, it doesn't make them a party. So it would be uncharitable to say Bamanga Tukur is leading a faction of the PDP. That is the PDP. But this could be a splinter group. But I see this splinter group merging, or at least they are shopping for members for PDM.
Would they go for?
I can tell you this, I can tell you.
So PDM may be that ultimate umbrella.
PDM is waiting by the corner, trying to receive these people. And of course, the PDP is the shopping mall of most of the parties.
Do you think that they deliberately did this just to preempt the PDP and see if they can be expelled or suspended? Because truly, knowing that the NWC at the slightest move towards some unhealthy moves by members, they get sanctions. Are they waiting to be sanctioned by the same political party?
That could probably be one of the options. But I think that even without being sanctioned, they have given a litany of their grievances. Think about 6 of them and all of that. And that is what they are using. In other words, what they are doing is that they are trying to develop a platform shopping for all aggrieved members. And a party like PDP that is so huge, there are so many aggrieved members. Those who couldn't, we'll probably talk about that unity list that eventually emerged, that excluded, the names of a number of people, and they are really, really aggrieved. Somebody like Sam Jaja, probably found himself on the wrong camp in the sense that he was in the camp of Amechi in Rivers State. And of course, when the list came out, Secondus was the candidate.
Can we link this?
Unchallenged.
Can we link
If for any reason probably they allowed him to contest. Nobody knew.
Mr. Ike,
yes.
sorry to butt in here. Can we also link this to the crisis in the PDP in River State?
Oh, sure. That is actually the infant terrible of this whole scenario is Governor Mechi. That is where everything is almost coming from. And if you notice, he went to Abuja, sat by the corner, monitoring what was happening in the convention, and almost 2-3 hours after the convention, the voting started, or at least when Ken Namani announced those who are going to stand the election and all of that, the governors started walking away. And they were going to Yaradua Center, where Amechi was waiting for them. So you cannot exclude, in the whole scenario, it's just there. It's almost central. So, but the point is that they are not shopping for substantial members, namely people like Atiku. Atiku has always had his issues with Tuko, that's the chairman of the party, especially emanating from the Adamawa state, their own state, and all of that. Yeah. So, when these lists come out, a lot of people will not find their candidates there, and make no mistakes about it. Most of these people who end up being members of the executive committee, national body, are all nominees.
But you would agree that the splinter group were good managers of information, because the PDP didn't see it coming, because it was live on television. They had all of that close to their chest, to the extent that it never leaked.
You see, that's the point. The first point.
Because from the action, you could tell that it was planned.
Well, you see, these are all options that you go to a convention with. If this happens, this is what we do. If this happens, and immediately that happened, phone calls started coming in and all of that, and it happened that way. But you see, the point we're also making here is that at particular points in time, PDP begins to behave as if nothing can happen to them. As if nothing can happen to them. But you see, it doesn't happen that way. You see, a lot of people predicted this implosion. In short, the word then was implosion. That PDP was going to implode, and the number of people were going to go out.
Some of the reactions that we were able to catch almost immediately this happened was part of that of Governor of Akwa Ibom State. Let's listen to what he said and see if we can read meaning into this one.
Taking up certain actions, but it's not a problem. I think it's an internal issue that we will definitely look into, and then it will be resolved. Yesterday, as PDP governors, we held a meeting in my lodge, and it was a very well-attended meeting. We discussed the issue of the convention, and all of us agreed to mobilize our supporters and be here. And of course, you saw that even the governors that you heard are not happy, also mobilized, and we're all here in numbers, in colors, and we all danced and we took part in the convention. The certain delegates were not allowed in, and so because of that, a few governors were not happy. So if people now left here and tried to form something, it doesn't work that way, because the procedure of holding a national convention is very clear. We have to give notices, you have to hold national executive council meetings, so many things go into it. My assurance to the public is that whatever disagreement will be treated as a family affair and will be resolved in the next few hours very effectively. The party will come out stronger, and the governors are reasonable people, and the governors are not people who are interested in leaving the party, because the governors are beneficiaries of the existence of the PDP. So the governors definitely will be reasonable enough to sit down to discuss the issues with the leadership of the party. So we will resolve the issues. But I understand that the disagreement is that certain delegates from Adamawa were given observer status instead of delegates status, and so they walked out, and in sympathy, a few people must have gone ahead with them. So whatever happened will be resolved.
What did you pick up?
Well, I agree with him to the extent that matters will be resolved, but to what extent it will be resolved will be another issue. And like I said, is not going to be as it was before this time. We'll probably not return to status quo. And I can predict right away that a few governors will come back, probably whose grievances will be addressed, and a number of them will leave. But you see, a party should be worried about.
Where would they leave? To form their own party or join another party?
Or just like I said.
Okay, the PDM.
Probably to the PDM.
So you think the PDM will...
In other words, what Atiku is doing now is he is staying in PDP and shopping for members right there.
But can he go back
right
to PDP?
Is there? Because it would have been quite difficult for him to step away from the PDP and begin to shop for members. You notice that they have put in place about 3 national offices. Officers rather. And then offices, namely the Oilola, Barje, and then the Samjaja. Yeah. And they announced that other offices will be filled. Where are they going to fill them from? They are going to shop for those officers for those offices in PDP. In other words, what I'm saying is that it is a very good thing that the president almost immediately invited these governors, and they are talking. Let us wait and see what the result of these meetings will be.
Let's not forget that they have been talking before now. I mean, even after the 5 governors,